the Demacia Cup so far, so always happy to see that. I think Gnar is still very prominent, very powerful, and I think it fits the CC and control team. It seems like what OMG really wants to do is they want to toss you around.
What does Rio choose to do here? It's mostly about playing for the scuttle, but it's going to be a little bit tough. You can see Zehen is already moving. Also, Rise is in fog.
Gonna try to start a fight over. Already going down about half HP. Wukong in a little bit of trouble. Already having to blow a flash. Rise looking for the rune prison. Unfortunately, just not able to connect as we go back in. And Bessa looking for a kill. And this starts off with a bang for sure. And Bessa, one of the scariest jungles on the planet right now, starting off with a lead Alk. And now, most importantly, we do have the Void Grubs up. And, you know, Harry's gonna have a harder time making it to this objective, being having that flash down. At least it's gonna be a bit more risky for it. Wukong gonna go in, trying to look for the distance, but gonna take a rune prison immediately to the face, only getting one cyclone off as we're chomping at the bits over here for Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan gonna take a bullet time though directly to the face as we're trying to buy a little more time here for Leona. We go a little bit back and forward, still trying to pick, not really committing so far. Public execution get activated on the other side as Talia comes in, grabs a kill on top of the Varus. We're trying to absolutely tear this team to pieces. Still has opportunities to go either way, but it looks like LGD in trouble. Their health bars are starting to leak slowly over time. Alistair trying to buy a little more time for Saucy. Saucy is still up, but I don't think we have the damage just quite yet. That control is too powerful as we pick up more and more kills. The bot lane as we try to take the Void Grubs finally for LGD. So, you know, in the long run of things, at least they're able to grab the lion's share and maybe just all of the grubs overall. We're going to spot it out, but it looks like it's going to be too little too late as indeed we're able to grab that. So that's going to be an important tool we can have.
Go for the dragon. It's going to turn into early plates here, though, for LGD's top side.
Absolutely, and it's going to be hard to pin down for sure. Sure, Gnar is here. We do spot them on top of a ward, but we're going to have a hard time going in. So, you know, like you just said, this is going to help accelerate this Rise, which is exactly what LGD wants. Rise is still very, very prominent in plenty of these team fights. Well, and you did express a little reservation for the Gnar into this team in particular, and I do see that, and I think there are plenty of angles to go for it, but if we're able to farm them for a bit of cash, that could be nice, but Harry's got plenty of time to go out as we take Saucy already down to about half HP. Hung doing sort of the same thing, taking a good chunk. Redemption coming down, unfortunately hitting no one as the Cyclone gonna get activated, trying to go in. Saucy trying to buy a little spacing here for them as the Solar comes down. We do miss it, but the Mbessa does end up getting taken down, and also as well, Alistair had to blow his ult for safety.
Yeah, I think that was just a big mistake there for Tongyuan. They thought they could go for a little bit more than maybe they actually had, maybe some more dip on their chip than they were expecting. Haichao can use his ultimate to cut this fight in half. The Herald is going to be taken, and neither top laner is going to be able to join.
Still looking for some sort of fight to pop out. The bullet time's going to activate, trying to lock down the Mbessa, and indeed, we're going to knock it back immediately into a world of hurt. First kill is down. This is a 4v5 at best, so we got to watch out for it as the Weaver walls come in to add a little bit of insult to injury. Saucy in a bit of trouble. If we can just barely get out of it, yes, we do, but that's really unfortunate. Another 2 kills going to OMG.
Gold at the 18-minute mark. They're going to lose another turret here, so it's another 300 on top of that. The second dragon of the game's going over to them. I'm very worried here for LGD, and they're tested here by OMG, but zero space from LGD to be really to contest.
Getting close to that 20-minute mark as the blue buff goes down. YCX looking for something to try to happen here. We're going to activate the ultimate for Alistair, trying to keep ourselves alive. Redemption coming down, but it's going to be a little too late as the bullet time comes in. That control is just too powerful for OMG, and Saucy, once again, just kind of isolated from their team. We're really just floundering as the Weaver wall comes up. So does the Cyclone. Flash over the wall, but it just buys us a couple of precious seconds. Rise there, trying to get out with an ultimate, but unfortunately, we're going to miss it. However, the Cavalry is here. The Rune Prison coming down, looking for the damage. Talia in trouble as Rise does it again, picks up a kill. Saucy doing the exact same thing, trying to lock down this Wukong. Yes, indeed. It looks like we're slowly turning this around. The Cavalry coming in last second because Harry is in the bot lane.
We thought that the Rise ultimate being stepped out of was a mistake, but Tongyuan knew that his teammates were right on lockstep with them. Moves into the play. Another turret will fall here for OMG on the opposite side of the map. No teleport for this Gnar. Turns into an Otacon for LGD after taking 2 kills there. Thankfully for OMG, they're going to get a lot of gold on the rest of the map. I think this is a pretty decent trade when you think about the items they're going to be able to complete. Maybe getting closer to those 3 item cores. If they get a 3rd turret, then I think this Otacon was definitely not worth it, even with the deaths.
I don't see any way we don't get the third turret, you know, unless there's an absolute Christmas miracle. No Christmas miracle today as we take it down. OMG's hands. You mentioned the towers. Now they got a couple of Drakes. If they're able to get this third Drake, they can set the tempo for the next upcoming fights.
Oh, Sauce's dead. Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's just down. Redemption not going to do absolutely nothing. I don't even think it reached whatsoever. So that's a bit unfortunate. And I think we blew a Rise ultimate there as well. Yep, we blew a Rise ultimate there as well. So
6 minutes of the game are going to really be where you make or break your stance here in this game number 1. Remember, this is the battle for first here in Group A, and incredibly important as we move further into Demacia Cup. The way that MF kind of stays in mid lane, she can just walk up and 1v1 a lot of different AD carries, and Sasa's again under threat.
Gonna get knocked into the wall, going down about half HP already. Ryu here to add insult to injury. Gonna try to take them down. There's gonna be the passive activate, but we're gonna have a hard time getting out of it. We do have a Rise here, but unfortunately we're gonna miss that as the Cyclone does indeed get activated. So we're able to buy a good amount of chime as actually the Wukong ends up going down, and it may be the Gnar as well as Rise goes to the other side, but we're gonna run immediately into the Varus. So this Gnar's in a bit of trouble as we get taken down, chunked, and destroyed. 2 kills.
Oh, they're gonna go for Baron
for LGD.
Oh,
TP
wait a
in.
minute. Sauce is
Double
here. He
TP
has no
in.
cultivation. I think this is just OMG getting chased out of the pit here.
Absolutely. Weaver wall to safety, but it doesn't matter because the Rune Prison's going to knock you out of it immediately. Talia on the run, having to blow a flash, and we can go for a bit of a stagger as Starry looking for an angle here, trying to lock down the Varus. Poor guy is just not allowed to walk anywhere without dying, but the Baron should still fall for LGD.
I was very worried about the Cultivation of War there, that revive passive for Zehen. Sorry, I don't think you're doing anything in this play here. Haichao's going to teleport in. Rio and Moham are coming soon, so LGD need to get out of this pit, and they need to get out of here fast. That's a Baron, and that timer is going to run right into this Dragon that's spawning. If they can survive this, if they can get out safely, it's a big play. OMG, though.
I don't think we do as Wukong goes over the wall. We just need to get that Cyclone in range if we can, but we do not have it up because it's 6 seconds on the clock till it's ready. Varus and get that number advantage, and sure, it definitely helped, but I've got to imagine if we had bullet time when Baron was up, that might have been a different entirety.
And that opens up a pretty decent gold here for LGD. They can even get the mid-tier one, so this was a very intelligent map play coming in from the Rise. Very few. He has none left in his inventory here. Hunks have to get over this wall. Remember, there's no flash on Tongyuan, no flash on Xiaoya, but same can be said for OMG's side. Great Weaver's Wall from Haichao.
There's the Weaver wall indeed coming in. We do still have bullet time ready
snuck.
to go. We're really waiting for an opportunity as the Drake goes down to Wukong. The fight finally does kick off as the exhaust comes down on top of Zan, able to do a good chunk of damage, but it looks like LGD is just in a much better position. Wukong just sort of left here fighting on the other end. We do pop the passive once again for Zaheen, but it just does not matter.
Activation. Global Red is nice, but they can very easily just turn here.
Starting a fight as the bullet time comes in. The flash to safety, but it looks like we're going to have Wukong on the other side waiting for it. Rise popping a little bit of TP down there, trying to regroup a bit of his team, but that's going to be 2 down in a very, very fast flash. And now we have Baron on the table.
That's it. That's just the Baron, and honestly, that's just probably going to be the game here. I mean, Elder spawns in 25 seconds, and there are 3 members of LGD alive. Changwon with no Realm Warp to reposition. Hung still has a public execution, but you can see that LGD have no space to walk on through. They'll take this mid lane wave, and it's going to be Baron for OMG, and maybe even that Elder afterwards in 10.
Stick the landing. That's a little interesting.
Oh, no.
Sasa might actually get caught again. This is really, really devastating. We have Baron buff still up again. We close the distance. Gonna try to turn the fight around, but we just do not have the forces for LGD to really contest it. There's gonna be the public execution as we go in. Buy a little more time. That passive didn't get popped there for Wukong. Able to do a good chunk of damage as Starry is able to absolutely chunk the competition. A lot of damage back and forward. TP coming in. Tung Yuan able to find at least a good chunk of the damage. The Cavalry is here. Can Varus tip the scale in their favor? It's going to be a hard ask for sure. Once again, we have a hard time closing the distance and getting here on time as 3 kills go to OMG. Weaver's walled, add insult to injury, locking down the Rise, or locking down the Varus is going to take him down. That's really, really unfortunate, and this indeed might already be the end of game number 1. Look at that gray screen.
Elder's going to be a great way for them to end out this game. They're going to have to reset, however, and waste a little bit of that time. LGD will respawn.
How many times did the Varus arrive to these fights last, or just with no mana, or just dead, right? You know, it happened time and time again. And you know, that was another good example. They arrived extremely late. Ooh, bullet time, gonna lock him down, but we're gonna pop the Zhonya's immediate Tungyuan, able to buy themselves a little more time, but it looks like we're gonna put a whole bunch of resources there, trying to lock them down as the Wukong goes in. Cyclone gonna get activated. Saucy is still alive, but it's gonna be a moot effort, and indeed, end of game number 1 is on its way as tower after tower goes down, followed shortly behind with the Nexus OMG taking the first point of this series.
It's going to be the LeBlanc instead here for Tungyuan. A much better matchup into the Azir, but when I look at this from LGD's perspective, they kind of need to get going early. They have the ability to do so from their bottom lane matchup, and LeBlanc can be very problematic.
The Drake indeed. Still got plenty of time for this next up-and-coming objective. I'm not real surprised that this first Drake is going to go over to the other side. Nocturne is the quintessential wait till level 6 until something happens kind of thing. So that's not real surprising whatsoever. We want to get those levels as we clear out the camps and go for a couple of more things. But we're going to get that massive tempo shift when that pops over. Yeah, absolutely. And the first plate's going to go down, so that's going to be a nice, crisp, clean 125. We are going to get at least one of the grubbies, so that does tie things up. I think the lion's share is going to go for to LGD, but able to grab at least one of those isn't the worst thing. I do appreciate the respect as we back off.
They did end up seeing Tungyuan, who had to use his sweeper. So they have an idea this is probably happening. If they ever mouse over to the pit, the announcers also give them a bit of a hint here as well. Hack speed, but won't have things like the Kraken Slayer that'll help him punch through a champion like Sion later on.
Trying to make things happen. The flash over the wall. Pop Blossom at least catching one so far. Ooh. As the Crescent Guard going to get activated, going to knock back to the other side. Nocturne going back in, but unfortunately, it's going to go immediately to his death, and the first kill finally hits at the 14-minute mark, Alk. And, you know, that's going to be something that's nice to not have to worry about Sion picking up. So if we're able to get Shelly on top of that, too, I think that'll put LGD in a better position if we don't just entirely die for it.
They haven't been able to touch turrets, though. Like, this is incredibly reminiscent of game number 1, where LGD, they got all 3 of the grubs and then never did anything with it. The Herald's going to go over, which will open up a bit of a timer here. They'll grab the Herald, and then they can make a play for the Dragon that spawns very soon afterwards. We're going here from OMG.
Nocturne turning off the lights as we get absolutely shredded. Pop Blossom goes in, but it hits an absolute goose egg. That's going to be a little unfortunate. Starry has to go out of the fight as Yanara tries to close the distance. We do pick up a kill, but it's going to cost us our lives. Just needs 1 or 2 more shots. Nico is able to pick it up as Sion absolutely rocking player after player. LeBlanc looking for the damage, having to go back on the other side. And Sion sent to the bouncy castle. Not taking the objective just quite yet. Or at the very least, just trying to take a couple of camps away, deny them for the other side. Sion looking to start a fight over here, going down to about half HP. No response here for OMG just quite yet. Sion just takes so much damage and does indeed go down what feels like for free. Nocturne going to turn off the lights as we try to lock down and go, and we do actually find the real LeBlanc, but we cannot close the distance just quite yet. Yes, indeed. We are able to grab it there on Azir, picking up 1 for kill. That is a 1-for-1 trade. Same thing with LeBlanc, and we still got to fight over here for this Drake.
I don't think this is very free. I mean, Starry could always fly through with the killer instinct. This is dangerous here for LGD. They don't have a ton of buttons. Also, Moham, half HP, doesn't have flash, but he does have Pop Blossom.
Bouncy Castle is up, locking down the Nocturne. There's going to be the Crescent Guard. Drake is still up, but it doesn't matter as the Nocturne goes down. Azir going to about half HP. This should be a free Drake for LGD. And yes, indeed, we're able to pick it up, the first little part of Infernal Soul, and that's going to be a lot of much-needed pressure, a lot of tempo for LGD. I'm going to call it, because it mind controls teams into death. That debuff is indeed up. We're looking for the advantage as Nocturne comes in, looking to try to lock down the Inara, but we're going to fight them underneath tower. That's going to be a 1-for-1 trade the long way around.
Portion of their damage. Hung is going to start it anyway. There's a play in mid lane. They're going to just go for Sasa in the mid. Maybe go for mid-tier 2 or mid-tier 1 as well. Azir is on this side of the map. LGD are just stuck trying to answer both sides of the map, and they get nothing for it.
Talking about before, sitting in the mid lane while his entire team's over here. We do have an ultimate to play. We do have a TP, so we can get in range extremely quickly, especially with Nocturne turning off the lights. But both sides are just looking for one little misstep. Teeth, 1 finally going down for the first time for OMG, as Autocon still doing a little bit back and forth. Azir slapping down his fake turret right there, providing a little bit of pressure. We're gonna get taken down here. No, okay, we have just enough time in order to get out as Sion goes in, but he's here entirely by himself. I know this is gonna be a tanky person. Ooh, as Nocturne goes in, takes a whole bunch of damage. We are still alive, but over the wall, Tong Yuan able to pick up a kill. Otacon absolutely shredding armor back and forward. Neither side wants to fight inside this debuff. 1-for-1 trade so far as both junglers go down, and we're still trying to take the Otacon.
Moham does have ultimate here, but he doesn't have flash, and this Azir turret is getting so much work done for them. Azir plus Kai'Sa, they shred this objective.
Speaking of shredded, look at these HP bars as more and more go down. Pop Blossom on 3, but do we have a follow-up? No, we do not, as Starry is not in range. Otacon still absolutely up. 8 seconds on the clock for both junglers. We do pick up a kill. This Sion absolutely paying out dividends.
Starry!
As YCX looking for a kill, but only going to fight death instead as the Q comes in. Kai'Sa picking up a double kill. Can we get the triple? No, unfortunately we cannot, as Flash to safety, but the Otacon ultimately goes down.
Much easier for them to play. So now they get the Otacon, and we still have a dragon. OMG now win big time on these objectives.
And pretty good Pop Blossom. A little sad to see there wasn't an insane amount of follow-up, but that was more time in the sun. Starting to fight now as once again Sion goes in. Crescent Guard getting activated. That's going to be ult for ult. Bouncy Castle coming down and going down just...
Giving time over to your opponents. OMG are getting more points put down into the shot clock of this game. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be giving 3 items. You don't want to get to a Sion who's at that point and getting 3 items. They'll get the tier 1 in bottom lane, but this Baron is very, very important right now.
For both of these teams, because, you know, like we said before, both of them are 2-0 for their series, or 4-1 total. Fighting literally the same people, having sort of the same matchups as they run into. Finally, it looks like we're going to crack the T3. Going to take that down. That's going to be some much-needed reprieve, some much-needed pressure for OMG.
Mid-tier 1 still, clearing out all these wards, and this is where the anxiety starts to come through. They need to have a Sasa teleport come through. Tong Yuan has his teleport ready, but he's leaving base now. Look at how fast this Otacon disappears.
TP coming in. Nasher looking for an angle to lock them down. We do the little spear to say hello, but OMG, I think, is just trying to bait this out. Reset on Nasher as we go back down to half HP. Gonna do a full reset for that one. Tong Yin poking in, saying hello, trying to get this pink ward down. Fight for that vision. We do have fake Nocturne over here in the background. We're gonna start a fight there as Zen goes in.
They can't see
Moham.
Activated.
We're gonna go on the other side. Pop Blossom on 4. Is this the opportunity to turn around? OMG, looking for the damage. Azir comes in for the 1-2 punch, and we're looking for the ace, and there it is! Full team wipe! What a fight!
5-for-1 trade. They didn't even care about the Baron. OMG played that incredibly well. The vision denial from the Nocturne. They don't even see Moham in the back line, and he lets it rip with a Pop Blossom. That'll be the inhibitor going down, and with the long death timers, this just might be the end of the game. OMG might just take this in 2 games.
Absolutely, and there's just nothing we can do. Yeah, there's no response. We got 6 seconds on the deal for Karma, and you know what's she gonna do? Go in there, pop down an empowered Q, and then immediately die. Yeah, both towers down. Couple of seconds, Karma is up, and
That's
yes,
it.
indeed, we're looking to 2-0. This is the end of the series. Kind of a night and day difference. We didn't go to a 50-minute mark, Alk.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.